Hey, it's part 4, exercising and training with tendon pain. How do I know it's tendon pain? Because it hurts when I move in the areas of the tendon. That's simple. Now, we've talked about, what is it? We've talked about ways of getting the blood flow cranked back up, maybe even desensitizing it, working on improving that system. But now I just want to take a pan back for a second and appreciate that that tendon does not exist by itself. It exists in a system. So we know that ultimately blood flow matters. So getting your steps in when I have a tendon problem matters. That's just moving the sewer, right? I want to get the garbage out and groceries in, and part of movement enough is when, frankly, when we do kind of after action reports on tendon related pain, we see oftentimes that our athletes aren't actually moving very much during the day. They're smoking themselves and walking 3,000 to 5,000 steps. So look, if I'm a reasonable person, somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 steps is fine. 7,000 steps is fine. Get as many steps as you can. But if I have a tendon problem, I want you to crank that up to 12,000 steps. Why? The game is to continue to get that sewage moving, and it's the cranking, the muscle contraction, that's squeezing and dumping lymphatics. As our friend Perry Nicholson says, it's the sewer system of the body. So it's not a throwaway byproduct. It's natural. It's part of the system. So if I want to decongest tissues and have healthier upregulation of the system, I've got to be thinking about stagnation in the classic terms of our Chinese and Eastern medicine counterparts. I've got to think about movement, decongestion, and really, how do I just continue to get that system circulating? Well, one of the things that we can also do is think about changing the dynamics locally. So what I'm going to do here is just throw on a Voodoo wrap on this area. This is my sacrifice one. And I'm going to go a little bit snugger because I don't need to go, I don't need to last 20 minutes. So numbness and tingling is your guide. It's kind of like maybe 40% tight, 30% tight. But the game here is, of course, typically when you see Voodoo flossing, you're thinking movement, right? So I could squat, I can lunge, and what we see oftentimes is that applying a little bit of movement or unloading the tendon a little bit or changing tendon loading dynamics is how braces and supports work. By changing the moment arm or some of the vector pull or the angle or the way that tendon's being loaded can make a big difference, the game here is to think about, can I change what's happening in the whole fascial system? So instead of just appreciating that that tendon is just, occupying its space by itself, I'm appreciating that that tendon is part of that entire system. So can I make sure that I have articulation in the kind of neighborhood? And that's how we describe this. Is this a technique that is going to heal a tendon? No. It's a technique that may free up and improve the mechanics, which may change how my mind is thinking about this. This is an idea that maybe a little bit of compression can do a little bit to maybe push out congestion or stagnation that maybe is implicating there, right? But mainly the game is, look at how much motion I'm getting in here. So it's not cross-friction massage so much, but trying to restore and change what's going on in that tendon locally. So that the idea is, hey, maybe my brain thinks differently about it so that I can continue to move. Or maybe I change some aspect of that loading of that thing so that when I'm in a squat or in my classic positions, I've altered the mechanics enough that my brain no longer recognizes that as the same position. So what are our tools to get you to train? And remember, the game here is loading. The game here is movement. There's no other way that your body's going to heal this. I mean, when you go in and they do trephine or PRP and these things, they're trying to restart an inflammatory response. The same inflammatory responses that would happen status post-exercise. So, what are the tools to increase blood flow? How do I desensitize this thing? Can I change locally what's going on in the mechanics? All of them might be good options to keep you training and get ahead of this tendon-related pain.